Welcome to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Christy Derry.
And I'm Kevin King. Joining us today are some very special guests. They have founded a program to help keep your pets when you're unemployed.
She is a graduate of Madonna University and has dedicated herself to help people and animals. She founded Basils Buddies as an animal welfare group that would help both pets and their people. She also runs the animal hospice portion of the group, providing a loving, peaceful home to terminally ill animals during their final days. We would like to welcome Patty Radakovich to Celebrate Michigan. And also joining us is Vice Chairman and co-founder of Basils Buddies, Julia Funds. And next to Julia is the Medical Director and a board member for Basils Buddies, Dr. Lucretia Greer. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So tell us about what is Basils Buddies?
What Basils Buddies is an animal welfare organization, and we have a rescue portion of that group, but we try to really keep people with their pets. So the reason we say we're animal welfare instead of animal rescue is we try to make sure we have services to provide services for people so that they can keep their pets and also help animals to get better quality care. So we do low-cost vaccine clinics, pet food banks, and then also the rescue portion of the group.
How did it get started? How did you decide to start this organization?
Well, Basils Buddies started, Julia and I actually met over 10 years ago. We were involved in another rescue organization on a board. And that was our first, well, not really our first exposure to rescue, but first exposure to it at the board level. And unfortunately, as more time passed with that group, we realized that we had a philosophical difference from what the group was. They were not a no-kill group, and we really wanted to be a no-kill rescue that valued all of the lives, not just look at the monetary implications of care for some of the animals. So after we were with that group for some time, we took some time off and had talked about developing this group, and about 10 years later, we got together and decided it's time, we're going to do it. And then we have our secret weapon, our super vet, Dr. Greer, that helps us with the medical care for the animals.
Now, what kind of animals are we talking? I know we have cats here, but dogs or?
We do basically companion animals, so it's dogs and cats. We work out of foster homes, so whatever we have the room for at that time. But we've also done rabbits, and then I do chinchillas. So if there's something that exotic that comes through, if we have somebody who's qualified to handle that, and it's something that we understand enough about to be able to do a good adoption at the end of it, then we can possibly take those animals into the group. But it's mainly domesticated companion animals.
What are some of the programs that you offer?
The programs that we offer mainly are adoption and rescue, the pet food bank, and then the low-cost vaccine clinic at this time. So with the rescue portion, we focus on the medical rescues, emergency rescues, and seniors. For the adoption part of it, we fix them up and then we adopt them back out. The low-cost vaccine clinics are open to the public, and those are, anybody can come in if they need to get their pets vaccinated or they need heartworm testing or heartworm medication, we provide that to them. And then we also have a pet food bank for unemployed and underemployed people. They do have to qualify for that. They can come in and get food every month, and then with that we do ask people who are able to actually volunteer back with our organization as a way for us to give them the food for us to keep running, because we do run on volunteers.
Okay.
Wow.
And then we also offer hospice as well for the terminally ill animals that come into our group. We do the hospice portion for that so that they can live out their days in a loving environment.
What's been the response to the programs that you offer from people who bring in their animals to you?
We've had a really great response so far, especially the food bank. When we open up the pet food bank, we're located primarily in the Downriver area right now. We are looking to expand eventually. So we have a lot of people that came in that really needed pet food. It wasn't a service that was provided. And then the low-cost vaccine clinics, we do rotate around the Tri-County area. And that one, we've had a pretty good response to that as well, because our vaccines are pretty much half the price of what you would get at a regular veterinary office.
Now, with the unemployment rate so high in Michigan, I know a lot of times when people lose their jobs, a lot of times the animals are the first to go, and so to be able to lean on you has got to be a huge benefit to them.
Yes, and that's part of that's the reason why we developed these programs like the food bank, is because we didn't want people to have to choose between feeding their animals and feeding their kids. And animals are part of the family, and it's a big enough loss that they've lost their jobs or they've had to cut back on how they live, and we don't want them to have to give up their animals too. So we want to be able to be there for them and help keep the whole family together.
And what are some events that you have to help raise money? Because this is not, it's a nonprofit organization.
It's a nonprofit, yes it is. The events that we do typical adoptions. So with the adoptions, just like most groups with adoptions, it's not a money-making thing. People think you make money on adoptions, and you don't. You're just trying to recoup some of the medical expenses that you put into your animals. And what we do for fundraisers, a lot of it falls around the holidays. So we might do craft shows at various places. We also work with local PetSmarts. They have a Santa Paws Photos where you can come in and bring your pet in and get your pet's picture taken with Santa. Okay. So that's one of our big fundraisers that always happens in December, and everybody can just go to our website, and that's all of our events are listed on our website at www.basilsbuddies.org.
Now, you all are doing great things for everyone. How does it make you feel when someone comes to you in need, you're able to help them out, and then you go home at night and kind of feel, you know, good about yourself that you provide the service that otherwise wouldn't be there for them?
Well, for us, it's really about keeping people with their pets. So, I mean, we feel that we're providing a service that people need, and it makes us feel good that we're able to do that. And we rely on the donations of other individuals. So, like with our food bank, whatever is donated in is what we give out. So, luckily, we have not, we haven't run out of food or anything like that. We've had enough donations to cover, what we have. But it's really, I mean, it is a good feeling to be able to help people, because a lot of times people just say, they'll call us and say, I have to give up my pet, and we don't say, okay, let's go through the process. Why do you, let's fill out the paperwork. We stop and say, well, why do you need to give up your pet? Let's talk about it first. How can we help you so that you can keep your pet and not have to give it up? And so that's the service that we like to be able to provide, and make sure that they have a happy home, and then the animal is well cared for, and the people feel good too, because they're able to keep their animal.
We know a lot of times, I'm sure people who aren't really caring or familiar with animals might say, oh, let the animals go. Can you talk about how really having a companionship or having an animal as a companion really can help with self-esteem and boost the families, whatever they're going through at the time?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is, one is they've done studies, particularly with cats, to show that the senior citizens that have cats actually tend to live longer, because it's a stress reducer, it's calming for them, and it actually makes them a little bit more active, so they have to do something. But even with children, it teaches children responsibility. Kids that have pets, they seem to be, they're happier because they have animals, they learn how to take care of animals, there's just a lot that goes into it with them.
They're healthier. Yeah, they're healthier kids. There was a study done that showed that kids that had pets tended to be much healthier than kids that don't have pets. And along with the seniors, there's also programs for like autistic children in terms of like therapy with pets. And so there's so much in terms of the emotional, the human-animal bond is pretty amazing, and I don't think anyone should pass on without experiencing it at some point. So,
All right.
We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more with Patty, Julia, and Dr. Greer on Basils Buddies.
Stay tuned. You're watching Celebrate Michigan.
And finally, biology. Who among you will step up to their challenge?
Me. Yeah, I'll do it. Me too. Sign me up.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At iava.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
In the event of a car crash, 3 out of 4 kids are not as secure as they should be because their car seats are not used correctly. But the latch system makes it easier to get it right and to hold your kids tight. Anchor, tether, latch. Learn more at safercar.gov.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. We're talking with co-founders Patty Radokovich and Julia Funds, along with medical director and board member Dr. Lucretia Greer, about Basils Buddies.
So Basils Buddies, how did that name come about? Because it doesn't have anything to do with dogs or cats.
Actually, it does have to do with the dog.
Okay, it has to do with a dog in particular.
Basil was the name of one of my dogs. It was my first cancer dog. Oh. And he passed away in 2006. So when I formed the group with Julia, you know, I wanted to make sure that he was incorporated in there somehow. And so it's Basils Buddies.
That's sweet. All right, we've got some buddies here.
Yes, we do.
Tell us a little bit about we have 3 actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we have right here, this is Justine. Justine this is an example of a typical cat that we would find in a shelter that's available for adoption. And a couple of reasons why she's typical is one, she's black. There's a lot of black cats out there.
Okay.
There are still some people that have superstitions about that, but black cats make loving companions just like everybody else.
Right.
But she was also a teenage mother, which is a big problem with cats. She was just under a year old when she already had her first litter. So that's typical that you find in the shelter situation where you have these young cats that are having kittens of their own. And so we rescue them and get them fixed and then put them up for adoption. So this is Justine.
Is there a limit to, you know, how many pets a family or person can bring into you?
Well, typically, like what we take in is as far as you're talking about to bring into our program to adopt out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We go based on space. So we do look at surrenders. We do pull animals from shelters, but we work out of foster homes, so it's based on what space is available in the foster home. And like I said before, is we try to work with people first to make sure that they, if we don't want them to give up their pet if they don't have to. So we try to work with them to make sure if there's any way possible they can keep their pet. So if it's medical care that they need, food, we try to work with them to get them the services that they need.
Dr. Greer, who's this little one we have here?
This is Darla. Darla's been with the group since she was about 6 weeks old, I believe. She has a congenital condition called spina bifida. Basically what that is the nerves and the bones that make up the spinal column don't fuse properly, and it can happen along any segment of the spinal column. In cats, most typically it occurs just before the hips, and that's where her problem is. So she can't use her back legs at all. She can't feel them either, but she, I mean, I've watched her grow. She was a small kitten, and I've watched her grow into this beautiful kitten now. She's a cat. She actually
has 3 legs.
She has 3 legs. One of her limbs, when she was younger, the joints kind of became a problem and locked out of place, and it made it very difficult for her to get around. So we discussed it and decided that it was a good decision to amputate the leg, and now she just has the one that she can maneuver around. Well, I can put her down here so you
Yeah, how does she get around?
She's very fast. She scoots around.
She is. She's very quick.
Cats typically do not need wheelchairs like you would see dogs in wheelchairs. Cats don't.
She's a
little scared right now, but she just scoots herself around with. She can actually climb up on things. You'll find her sitting. She's one of our sanctuary cats, so she's going to be with us for the rest of her life. And you'll see her. She's in a cage-free environment, so she's not locked in a cage. But you'll see her climbing up on things. And she'll get up to the next level. So she really, it's just the. Like I said, just because she doesn't have the full use of her back legs doesn't mean that she's not mobile. She certainly is.
Such a beautiful face, too.
Yeah,
she is.
And who do we have hiding in this bag here?
You can get him out. That's Mr. Tanner.
This is Tanner. This is actually Justine's son, and he is an example of a kitten regular kitten that we would rescue, but he's also one of our medical rescues. And Julia can tell you about why he came into our group.
Yeah, I pulled Tanner from the shelter because when he came in with his mom and his two other brothers, he had a really bad eye infection, and we thought he was going to lose his eye. It was so bad you couldn't see the actual eyeball itself. Wow. And then he got a secondary bacterial infection on top of that. So I wanted to pull him because in the shelter, most city shelters don't have the means to get the medical care for the shelter. It's okay, darling. And so we pulled him, and he's all better now. His eye is a little droopy, but he can see out of it, and he's the typical normal kitten, and he's making up for lost time.
Wow.
Wonderful.
So these are examples of the adoptable animals that we do have, and like so this one is like a medical rescue that we can fix up that they wouldn't be able to do at the shelter, and then we can adopt them out. And we are, you had asked about the spacing that we have. We're limited by the number of foster homes that we do have, so we're always looking for new foster homes. There's a qualification process. But with foster homes, we provide everything that the person would need to care for either the dog or cat or whatever animal they'd be taking, and then they just basically provide the home and the love for the animal.
Now, when someone comes and wants to adopt an animal, do you find oftentimes they leave with more than one, or they come in with a cat in mind and they take the cat and the dog?
Sometimes they do. It really depends, what they're looking for. Like we have an adoption process, so there's an application that they fill out. We're different than a city shelter. At a city shelter, they most of the time would have to adopt the animal out to anybody that walks in the doors. We're a little bit more particular, so there's some screening processes that we go through. There's qualifications that people have to meet. For example,
like what?
Oh, for example, like one of the things is, we look to see if they have any current animals in the home. We want to make sure that they're not over their city limit. Each city has their own limits, so we need to make sure that they're not. If they can only have 3 cats and they're trying to adopt 2 more, we can't do that.
Gotcha.
Also, if there's breed-specific legislation in their city, like we have a lot of pit mixes that have come through our group, we can't adopt a pit out to certain cities. But also we're looking to see if they have animals, if they provide the proper vet care, and make sure if they have children, everybody meets the animals before they adopt it. So we want to make sure.
We'll continue with more of the adoption process, but we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Patty, Julia, and Dr. Greer on Basils Buddies.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I think my purse is upstairs on the bed. It's not here.
Check the dining room.
No.
What about your sister's room?
It's not there either.
The upstairs closet? The downstairs closet?
There are no more closets.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Welcome home, man.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Dude, look at those hands.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Kevin King.
I'm Christy Derry. We are talking with co-founders Patty Radakovich and Julia Funds, along with medical director and board member Dr. Lucretia Greer, about Basils Buddies.
Now tell us, where are you located?
Currently, we're located out of foster homes. That's where we work. We don't have a physical facility. We're working towards a facility. Our long-range goal is actually to build a very large animal sanctuary here in Southeast Michigan. We're trying to model ourselves after Best Friends in Utah. And so we're looking to get land, but it's a step-by-step process. So we start offering these services, and we're looking for donors that can help us raise the capital fund to be able to get a building. And then the next step after that would be purchase land for a sanctuary.
Okay, so if somebody is seeing the show and they want to get involved, they can go to your website, baselsbuddies.org, and get more information.
Yes, all of our information is on our website. Information on how to donate, you can donate directly on our website as well through PayPal.
And what makes you guys so much different than an animal shelter?
Well, we're different from an animal shelter. Animal shelters, there's different types of shelters. A city-run shelter, most of them are not no-kill shelters. So they are required by law. If an animal comes in, they have to take it. They hold it for a certain number of days. If they don't get adopted out, then they may euthanize those animals. There's traditional rescue groups. Some of those are kill. Some of those are no-kill rescue groups as well, and they focus on rescuing animals out of the shelters and getting those adopted out. The way that we're different is we do rescue as well, and we love rescue groups, and we work very well with most of the rescue groups around us. We have a lot of partnerships with them. But we tried to fill a niche that wasn't offered, and one of the things we wanted to focus on was providing the services to people to help them keep their pets, to keep them out of the shelters in the first place. And working with them to help with the spay-neuter to make sure that the animals are fixed so that you don't add to the overpopulation problem. And then also focusing on the animals that other groups simply couldn't take because of the cost. And those would be our medical rescues, emergency rescues, seniors because they require more care, and then the sanctuary and hospice animals. And part of the reason we're able to do that is because we have Dr. Lucretia Greer on our board. And she does integrative medical care, so she does both Eastern and Western veterinary medicine. And so we're able to offer some remedies that are non-traditional, and they work better and happen to be cheaper too. So and she can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I do. I practice integrative medicine, and it's basically just a combination, basically, of the Eastern and Western. I'm certified in acupuncture and herbal therapy, and I do help with homeopathic remedies and things like that. Mostly the Chinese herbals, the acupuncture techniques, and have worked wonderfully with a lot of the hospice animals. Cancer patients that need, symptomatic therapy. It's amazing what acupuncture can do to help a lot of those patients, along with some medical therapy. So it's exciting, and it's great to be able to offer just a variety of different types of things based on the animal's needs. So
now with the hospice animals that you have, is there some kind of requirement that they have to meet in order to be accepted into your program?
It's based on space. Okay. And hospice, it's like the human hospice, but just for animals. So it's basically what we try first is we try to do what we can to, to cure them of the condition. And if it's found that, through all of the processes that we use, that we're not able to do that, then we want to provide them supportive care, and we want to make sure that they're comfortable, through the remainder of their life. And so some of the animals too might be transfers from other groups, or they could be a shelter has called us and say, hey, we have this animal, and maybe they don't want to euthanize it there, and see if there's something we can do. So that's one of the ways we work with the other groups too.
Has there been experience in your life that has drawn you to this kind of work, whether as a child or as an adult, that made you really want to offer these types of services? This is for any one of you.
I mean, for all of us, I think it's different, is that we all have a passion really for animals.
Okay.
And that's what drives it. And, for me personally, I've been volunteering my entire life, and I'm an advocate for the underdog. And, right now.
Literally.
No pun intended, right?
For me as a veterinarian, I was a part of a very large practice, and so often we would see animals come in and they would be euthanized for conditions that really could be treated. And obviously, when you're working for a corporation or a hospital, you're bound by what services you can do, you know, pro bono, if you will, and it becomes, it's heart-wrenching a lot of times. I mean, I didn't sign up to euthanize everything that couldn't be treated, even though I know that there's a treatment option for them. So for me, it's a breath of fresh air to be a part of Basils Buddies and be able to offer my services for the group and help in this way when a lot of, in many circumstances in a clinic situation, I can't, you know. So it's nice to also have a resource because for a lot of clients that do come into the clinic, I can pass them on to Patty and we can put them through the group and see if possibly we can help them that way. So it's rewarding in a lot of ways.
And Julia, was there anything in particular in your life that you
No, just always loved animals and always was the one to say, look what followed me home. So I've always been in rescue ever since I started very young.
Well, again, you know, we talk about a lot of people are unemployed nowadays. What advice would you give to someone who has a passion and a love for whatever it is that they love to actually go out there and do the types of things that you're doing?
Do you mean specifically to start like a rescue organization?
Yeah, or whatever their interest, entrepreneurial spirits take them.
I just always tell people, you know, I mean, go do what you're passionate about, because if you're in life, you want to be happy, and life is short. So do what you're passionate about, and if you don't know how to get started, just go out there and ask. I mean, you know, part of how we started with the group, like I said, we had worked with other rescues. We kind of saw how things worked, things we didn't like, and then really, it's, you know, the internet is out there, provides so much information. How do I start a nonprofit?
And
well, I didn't know. I Googled it.
You can go to basilsbuddies.org if you want to learn more about Basils. Thank you so much for being on a show. I'm afraid we're out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.